Good morning and welcome to Live FM KZN. This is Dawid and this is the Entrepreneurs Live Show. This morning we've got a very special guest with us. We've got Mr. Francois du Plessis, the CEO, the founder and the mastermind of FDG Capital with us. Welcome to the show, Francois.
Thank you so much for having me, Dawid.
It's a great pleasure, my friend. Now, Francois, the first and most important question everybody is asking me when they see your ads, when they see anything about FDG is, who is Francois du Plessis? Would you like to share with us where you come from, where you were born, those kind of things?
Of course. Okay, so let's start with where I was born. I was born in a small town called Dam in the Northwest.
Oh, beautiful.
I grew up there, eventually relocated to KZN and then every other province across the country. Grew up in a family that loved traveling. So we moved a lot, especially for my dad's business. Kind of grew up in that environment my entire life where business was a part of, well, everyday life. And then once I matriculated, didn't really know what I wanted to do at that point. So studied a few things, worked on different things, worked on in different companies and so forth until I, about 5 years ago, found my passion in finance and worked for one of the 5 major banks in South Africa. As a branch manager, I worked my way up through multiple positions there as well until I specialized from just getting into finance to a little bit more into trading and investment management and attaining wealth for other people as well. And that basically grew into the passion that is now known as FDG Capital.
Yes, that's absolutely beautiful. You know, having a passion to help people is something that's very scarce in this world. Francois, what school did you attend the longest? Seeing that you traveled a lot and you've been in different provinces, what school did you attend the longest? And also, which was your favorite school?
Okay, so I'm guessing you're talking now about high school and primary schools.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I went to a total of 5 primary schools in my life.
Oh, wow.
And I attended 4 different high schools. So to say which one I attended the longest was a primary school in Dam called Broederstroom Primary. And I was there for a grand total of about 3.5 years. And the longest high school that I attended was also the high school, or the longest term I completed in a high school was the high school that I matriculated in, which was Cambridge Academy in Gauteng. And that is where I spent my grade 11 and matric year.
That is quite cool. Cambridge is quite a well-known school.
Yes, it is. So we obviously, they used a different syllabus. So, which was quite nice. So we didn't do, it was a private school. So let's just state that. And there was various reasons why that was the route that I had to follow. For my entire life, that was the first private school I ever went to, just to clarify that. I went to public schools my entire life. And but because my parents traveled so much, they actually offered me the opportunity to attend and do their syllabus without having to be physically at school every single day. And I was actually able to be with my family and complete my matric year at the same time.
Oh, wow. That's actually quite something different. You know, I feel that actually will be a great thing for a basis of an entrepreneur, you know, private school, obviously something magnificent, but also that you were able to be with your family and learn a lot from them. Is there anything specific in that time period that you learned from, like you said, your father was magnificent in business, anything specific that stood out that you learned from him at that stage?
Well, my dad has always been extremely into education. And I think that's the biggest thing what I learned from my dad is you just never stop learning. Regardless of how old you are, regardless of what you're doing, you have to consistently keep on improving yourself. And it's something that I try and live up to on a daily basis. I mean, my dad has his master's degree. He has 2 other degrees as well. And he literally just got to that point where he was basically, like I said, he attained his master's in the field that he was in, and then actually just went to study something else because the fact that he just never wanted to stop learning. And that was just my inspiration behind, like I said, always wanting to continue to improve myself and learn more and be better. However, the biggest thing that I will say that we sometimes disagree upon is the fact that I truly believe that you have to continuously improve yourself and continuously keep on learning and learning new skills and perfecting your craft. But it doesn't necessarily have to be in an institutional environment. Going to university, going to college, it's a fantastic thing. And yes, they teach you a lot of valuable skills and knowledge and etc etc. However, a lot of those textbooks were written 50 or 100 years ago. So there's a
That's
lot of
true.
stuff that's happening in today's day and life where it's not 100% valid anymore. And that is why as well you'll see, and this is institutions that I like attending, we have various different practical skills academies, if I can put it in such a way,
Okay.
that have popped up around the world, around the country, where you can go and learn skills and improve yourself in short courses and so forth, that I've felt that means a lot more to me than my degree. So yes, you go to university, yes, you go to college, yes, you can get your diploma, yes, you can get all these lovely qualifications, but I've found that some of these academies that I've attended that taught me one skill that is applicable in today's day and life is way more valuable than that piece of paper that says I studied for 3 years.
No, that makes sense. When you're talking about your short courses that you're doing, what kind of short courses do you like? Is it something that's more focused on business management, personal development, motivational? What kind of fields do you study? If we can go
I
a little
think
bit
it's
more
all
in
of
depth there.
I think it's all of the above. As I've done some on marketing, I've done on business, I've done on finance. I'm busy with one that covers the South African insurance industry. It covers the investment industry. It covers
Oh,
the
wow.
trading industry. Um, so that's one I'm busy with now. I recently completed one in digital marketing.
Ooh.
Um, so that basically went a lot into social media, etc., etc., and just improving your outlook there. Um, then yeah, there's ones you can do on personal development, and then there's some that just interest me that is completely out of my field, and it's was fun to do, and it taught me something new, and it's it's that range of knowledge that eventually you find someday that when you get faced with a different situation, that if you look back at that little skill you learned, which at that point in stage was maybe not something relevant to what you were doing, but you could apply it a couple of years later.
Ah, no, that's something that's interesting because I know a lot of the people that's studying at the moment is studying for a specific field. And like you say now, study what you need to study, but add extra things on so that you can actually learn how the world is functioning, if I'm understanding it correctly.
Absolutely. It's like I said, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not discrediting universities. Absolutely, go do your degree, do your master's. If you're not married, do your doctorate. Because I have a few friends who's done that, and trust me, you either need a fantastic spouse or some crazy work ethic to be able to balance that degree and your personal life. Um, but so yeah, it's not like I'm discrediting universities, and so that's what I'm saying. Please don't understand me wrong on this. I think it's absolutely essential that we still get that part done. However, I do think that there is current gap in our education, if I can put it in such a way, where we have so many people in South Africa who are unable to attend universities just because of the sheer
Yes.
price of what a
Yes.
university degree costs these days. But you know what a lot of South Africans do is they just kind of give up because I can't afford a university, so I'm just going to give up. And they are so like that. That's why I focused on. There are so many small, short courses, and these short courses are not expensive. And I mean, there's a range of institutions that offer this. And
Indeed,
just
yeah.
by improving your skill set, you can improve your own lifestyle and your life and everything that happens around you.
That is quite cool. That's actually good advice that you're giving the people there. Now let's get into something that's a little bit more juicy. When did you do your first or get involved with your very first entrepreneur experience? And may I ask what it was? Who brought you to it? What happened there? If you can go in a little bit of detail for us, the juicy bits.
Well, let's put my first entrepreneur's experience was a little bit different to, I think, most people is, well, I was 17, let's put it that way. So, and I worked for a specific company. Company kind of went bankrupt, and I actually contacted one of my friends that I knew at that point in stage, and they purchased the actual company based on my recommendation, which was quite crazy, accepting a 17 years old word to purchase a company. However, after purchasing the company, he showed up at my house and he was like, well, you made me purchase this, so guess what? It's your duty to make this a success, and you are now in charge. Needless to say, half of the staff resigned because no one wanted to work for a 17-year-old, let's put it that way. But I managed to build a team that stood by my side, and we made an incredible success of the actual business. And the business was actually sold again about a year and a half later, but for double the value that my friend purchased it for. So I always attain that as my first entrepreneurial success. And I think that's also a very important part that we have to understand is sometimes it's not, yes, it's great to start your own company, and yes, it's great to create your own ideas and so forth, but sometimes it's just as fantastic to just start your journey a little bit different. And like I said, for me, that was not my business, firstly, but I treated it as mine. And once the business was sold, I actually got remunerated quite generously for my time there. And that was what I used through the rest of my life then to start new businesses, start new companies, and start new ventures that I wanted to go on. And not all of them were successful. The success rate was not that great in the beginning.
Okay.
I kind of went off that excitement of that first one that was amazingly successful. And well, the second one failed, the third one failed, the fourth one failed, the fifth one failed, the sixth one failed. And round about the seventh one, we started attaining some success again. But by that time, like literally almost went bankrupt 5 times. So always had to start from scratch. And I think it's that sheer determination and willpower to just always keep going, and having that in the back of your mindset that you have that ability to create success, but you will not every idea you have will be successful. And that's one thing that we always just have to remember, is that each one of us has the ability to be successful. Each one of us has the ability to make something great out of our life, but not every idea we have is going to be that idea that makes us successful. And when we actually start trying some of our ideas, if I can put it in such a way, what happens a lot of the times is we start one of our ideas and it doesn't become a success, and then you automatically just give up. Because what I had this idea, it didn't work. So you know what? I'm just going to go back and get a job and work for the rest of my life. Yes, go back, get a job. I had to, because the fact that at the end of the day, you got bills to pay, you got
Yes.
rent to pay, you have food to buy. And, but few months into my job, you start your side hustle again. You start your new idea. You
I like
start
that.
working on that. And what happens? You get to a point where you're like, okay, this is going to work, and you go and try it, and it might fail again. But that constant just moving forward, getting it done, eventually you will find that one golden nugget that will make an absolute success out of your life.
Oh, that's so beautifully said. I recently heard on somebody's motivational piece that they were doing, they said, you're going to fail. 3.8% or 3.8 out of 5 will fail, but fail quick, fail fast, stand up and go for it. Francois, that is actually
Absolutely.
beautiful advice that you were just sharing there, because I really do believe a lot of people think if they fail once, it's over. And it's not. It's all about picking yourself up, going forward, pushing again, trying again, doing a little bit more, because every time you become more stronger and more clever, and it will just keep on improving. So
Absolutely.
that's absolutely, absolutely beautiful. In your career as an entrepreneur, what is your highlight so far? What is the one thing, big or small, that stand out above anything for you at the moment?
Well, from an entrepreneur's point of view, I'll 100% have to say FDG Capital. I mean, that is my absolute pride and joy. And what we have been able to achieve in our first year of operations has been mind blowing. And so, yes, from an entrepreneur's point of view, that has to be my absolute, that's my golden egg, if I can put it in such a way. That's the one thing I'm the most proud of that we have achieved and up until this point.
Now, that is absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Talking about FDG Capital, I know that is your baby and your pride and joy. Are you allowed to talk a little bit about it? Would you like to share with the listeners a little bit about FDG? Who's FDG? What does FDG do? If you can, if you want to.
Of course. So FDG Capital started in 2019. We started as a small trading company, did fund management for various people, and I think we had a certain outlook when we started the company and what we wanted to achieve, and what has evolved into what is now FDG Capital is something completely different. And I mean, we grew into an FSCA registered investment management company now.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was probably one of our biggest accomplishments that we've had in the last year, is actually attaining our our FSP license. And as well, some of the business relationships that we have been able to grow during this time with FDG Capital. Some of them I can't elaborate on at this point in time. I do apologize for that.
No, that's
But
understandable.
there are a lot of things in the pipeline that can guarantee you blow a lot of people's minds. There are also other aspects where we are now also collaborating with another company where some of FDG's traders were actually chosen to spearhead a project that is currently going on in South Africa. It's not 100% at this point a partnership between FDG and this company. However, this will obviously also create an immense benefit for FDG's clients, as
Oh,
well
beautiful.
as the experience gained by FDG's traders and fund managers, where the senior team, which would be myself, Rowan Landsberg, and Quentin Moody, we will be finding out in the next week. We actually went through quite the the process as well, where we were chosen to be a part of part of South Africa's first derivative-based hedge fund, as in fully registered derivative-based hedge fund.
Oh my word.
Literally first one in South Africa, started or launched in full, open to the public, I think 3 weeks ago, which is absolutely fantastic. And
That's magnificent.
for some of our listeners, that is FDG's goal. And however, there is a lot of red tape that we have to get past to be able to do that. And we are just so honored and so blessed to have this opportunity where we can collaborate as a part of that company's team as well, and in the process gain the experience required to get FDG Capital to, well, hopefully be the second derivative-based hedge fund in South Africa.
Oh my word, that's magnificent. That's huge.
Which would be great. Absolutely. However, where it is now is already a massive accomplishment. I mean, when we set out in the beginning, where we are now is where we wanted to be about 6 years from now.
Oh my.
And we set out, obviously, you had your vision board, you had your goal set out there. And we just started ticking everything off on that board way quicker than we ever thought. And attaining your FSCA license in such a short period of time was an absolute astonishment even to ourselves that we were able to achieve it and to get that right and just get to that level where we actually qualified for it. And just as well, the level of security and the level of growth that we are now able to provide, or each one of our clients, is absolutely fantastic. And just for our listeners as well, I know when everyone thinks hedge fund or investment management company, you're thinking of large amounts of capital. I mean, the one hedge fund that we, like I said, been chosen for, the minimum investment is R1 million. Now, I know most South Africans don't have that type of capital. Now, with FDG Capital, that is absolutely not the case. Our investment funds start from as little as 15,000 Rand, where you can actually invest in something that will generate you fantastic returns. And what I mean by fantastic returns as well is, let's clarify this into saying realistic returns. I know there's a lot of companies out there, especially promising some of our youth these amazing returns, and some of them get it, some of them don't. But as well, then we have the flip side of that coin. We always have two sides of a coin, in the sense of, then we have some of our larger institutions, and I know we have some of our older folk that would advise some of our youth to, no, you must save your money. Well, Warren Buffett said it best: no one ever got rich by saving.
I like that.
So, because the fact that if you put your money into a savings account, if you go read some of the T's and C's, you earn somewhere between 3 and 5% per annum. I mean, even a money market account nowadays does about 4.8% per annum. South Africa's inflation is almost higher than that. So your capital is not really growing. Your capital is not just not depreciating. So 5 years from now, you're going to have, in inverted commas, more money, but it's going to be worth exactly what it is worth now. Where if you invest your capital, you actually have the opportunity to have your money work for you in the long term.
Yes, I like that. It's quite interesting that you're saying there how difficult it is. And I would like to go to that part, if you don't mind, because obviously reading up a little bit about all the red tape, like you say, I noticed one thing that when I was reading up about what you need to do is there's a lot of studying involved with it. And I think you mentioned earlier also that you were busy studying. Now tell me, is the studying that you were doing, is it all specifically based to teach you what you're allowed to do, how you're allowed to do it, regulations, those kind of things?
Well, there are regulatory courses. Sorry,
Okay.
quite the word, quite the tongue twister.
It is.
Um, so there are regulatory courses that you have to attend. You obviously have to do your RE exams,
Oh my.
depending on which area of the finance industry you want to go into. There are 5 regulatory exams. You don't necessarily have to complete all of them. Um, if you're just starting out in the finance industry, or you basically just starting out on a license, you're working for a company and
Yes.
you are basically doing your apprenticeship,
Yes.
um, you will start with RE5. I know that's weird. You start from the back, work your
Oh
way up.
my. Yeah, it is.
So you'll start from RE5 and then you'll work your way up. Um, RE3 is specific for hedge funds, all the way to when you get to the head of the license, which is known as a key individual, which is required to do an RE1. And yeah, so like I said, there are various exams that you need to complete, and even to sustain your license qualifications throughout the time, there is ongoing learning, which is absolutely fantastic, because that always ensures that everyone on the license is up to date with what's going on in today's day and life, up to date with current regulation changes, up to date with different developments across the globe. There is continuous learning that you have to do through one of the FSCA's approved institutions. There
Okay.
is a certain amount of practical hours you have to complete every 12 months. Um, so yeah, those are also quite fun and extremely educational to do. And but like I said, it is continuous learning. And if you don't complete it, then you do stand the risk of um, losing your license qualification.
Okay, that is quite interesting. The one thing that I really like about it is um, it's all about protecting people or people's investments, if I can understand it correctly. And also, if people are going to invest or they're going to look at a future and they want to get money grown for them or worked for them, um, it's obviously a necessity to work through somebody that's FSCA regulated, if I'm correct in saying that.
Absolutely. And that is one of the things the FSCA will tell you as well. Um, for those of you who do not know who the FSCA is, it was previously known as the FSB. I know a lot of more people will know that
Yes,
acronym.
yes.
But
Financial
they've got,
Services Board, if I'm correct.
that is correct. And then you obviously get licensed as an FSP, which is a financial services provider,
Oh, awesome.
which it's now labeled as the FSCA. Please don't ask me what it stands for. I know it's something financial sector, something association or something like that. It's not part of my job description to know what the acronym means. So, however, they basically have the client's best interest at heart at all times. And
That's
I
good.
think that is one of the most amazing things, but it's one of the things that, or one of the reasons why they probably make it so difficult for us as financial services providers, is because the fact that we have to, on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, prove that we have our client's best interest at heart and that we are protecting our clients at all times. And the moment you step out of line, your not just your license will be taken away from you, your company will be taken away from you.
Yo,
And
that's quite hectic.
it also ensures that should you as a client have a dispute, you are able to go and dispute it with the FSCA, um, and they can assist you. So, which I believe is an absolutely great thing,
It is, yes.
and it always ensures that you as the client is protected. Now, obviously, we do understand there is various things that can happen. There are extreme things in the market that can happen, which is way out of the financial services provider's control. And that will obviously be declared in such a way by the FSCA. However, we have so many companies, so many individuals in this country, especially, offering different financial services, not being regulated, not doing everything the way they're supposed to be doing it.
That's dangerous.
And when something goes wrong, you don't have any foot to stand on. I mean, especially there's people who trade with brokers who are not regulated by any institution, and then one day the broker just closes down, and you're like, well, where's my money? And then your money is gone. There's no broker, no one can. There's no foot for you to stand on because of the fact, or leg for you to stand on in such a sense, because the fact that you freely gave your money to a company or an institution that is not regulated. And especially from an investment and trading point of view as well. I mean, the FSCA has very strict regulations with regards to what we are allowed to do and how we are allowed to invest your money, and types of trading, to always ensure that we keep you as the investor at always as our number one priority. But like I said as well, we do have multiple things that happen that can also affect that, and which is completely out of our control. And I think 2020 has taught us a couple of those things. I mean, we had a crazy year so far.
Oh, indeed. Obviously, you're talking about the oil crash earlier this year.
Well, not just the oil crash. I mean, before the oil crash, we had the biggest market crash since 1986. That That's happened huge. In March. That was absolutely mad. Just after that, we had a second market crash, not as big, but it happened literally like 2-3 weeks later. Then we had the oil crash. We've had lockdown, not just in South Africa. There's been lockdown across the world, and that obviously affected global markets. We still have the coronavirus or COVID-19 virus epidemic that is ravaging across the globe as well, creating havoc everywhere. And unfortunately for all financial markets, when fear is created, it's never
good.
A good thing.
Never good. Now that's quite awesome. Now, before we go into the last part of your interview, my friend, I would like you to share some advice with upcoming entrepreneurs, existing entrepreneurs and business owners, because it's quite spectacular. One thing that I did not mention when I started the interview was that you are actually still extremely young. You're 26, if I'm correct?
27.
27.
My wife constantly reminds me. Trust me, I also get it wrong.
So you're 27 years old. You're a CEO. You're a director of a company. You're a magnificent trader, international businessman, and I do believe you're going to have something valuable to share with everybody out there. What would that be?
Well, I think always less is more. So let's go that route, in the sense of, for every new entrepreneur out there, I would go with the advice that I gave earlier, in the sense of just never give up. You were put on this earth for a reason. You are not a mistake. No one was just born. Everyone is here for a purpose, and your goal in life is just to find that purpose. Our Creator has created us for a purpose, and that is just, like I said, that has to be your life mission, is to find that purpose. Now, I know everyone wants to be successful and everyone wants to be the next Jeff Bezos. Unfortunately, not everyone was put on this earth to be the next Jeff Bezos. Yes, we want to attain wealth. Yes, we want to attain success, but we all have different levels of success. And I think that is the biggest thing we need to also accept, especially as young people, not just in South Africa, but across the globe, that yes, it's fun being a billionaire. Yes, it's fun being a millionaire, but there's different levels of success where we can make a difference in people's lives, where your level of success might be to coach the next Jeff Bezos, or to inspire someone's life to become the next Martin Luther King or the next Madiba, to become that person who would create greatness. But without your input into their life, that might have never happened. For all existing entrepreneurs, I'm going to go back to the never give up part. I know it's tough. I know it's hard out there currently, especially with the outlook currently in our economic climate. I mean, we have businesses closing left, right, and center. However, this is that time where, apart from not just giving up, it's also time to adapt. It's time to learn to be different. It's time to learn to be better. And that is one of the things that I also on a daily basis try and teach myself. And I have various mentors that I speak to on a weekly or daily basis. And some of those mentors have now become friends because the fact that, well, I just phone them that much. So let's be very clear on that. Because the fact that you consistently also need that motivation and that little bit of a different perspective. And I know, especially as an entrepreneur, or business owner, CEO, director, whatever you want to call yourself, sometimes the hardest thing is to not be in control, to have someone else tell you what to do. But sometimes you require that someone else to tell you what to do in your business to just get out of that little bit of a rut that you're in. And one of the corporate companies that I worked for a couple of years ago, and I was privileged enough to meet the CEO a couple of times, and I was privileged enough to actually sit down and have a bit of a conversation with him. Absolutely crazy successful person. I mean, the company is worth just over 100 billion rand. So just to clarify, it's not that it was a small company. And the CEO told me that when he walks into a board meeting, or when he walks into a meeting to discuss a situation or a new product or anything that is currently happening in his company, he wants to be the dumbest person in the room. Now, I know there's another way of saying that, and I know there's a saying that goes, if you walk into a room and you're the smartest person, you're in the wrong room. However, sometimes we just need to accept sometimes that we're going to be the dumbest person. And that is not a bad thing. If you are a clever individual and you are a forward-thinking individual, you will understand that sometimes being a little bit less and having smarter people than yourself around you, it continuously improves you, and it continuously gives you different perspectives and how to solve a situation. And I know for a lot of businesses, some businesses in South Africa have embraced business coaches and have embraced that department. And some entrepreneurs think that it's a waste of money. And both of them might be right. So I know there is a lot of business coaches out there who probably ain't doing the best job out there, but there is fantastic institutions out there that are doing great things for individuals and great things for companies, and actually making crazy success stories out of some of these companies, because the fact that you might be facing a situation, but that coach was part of that situation in another company, and that issue has already been resolved. So you're still trying to figure out how to solve the situation, and he already has the answer. You can go ahead and spend the next 6 to 12 months trying to solve this problem yourself, or you can just have that little bit of humility and say, you know what, I need help. And someone can give you the answer that's going to take you 6 months to get it yourself in a matter of a couple of days. And your business can get back on track and back where it needs to be. And so, yeah, those are probably the two best pieces of advice that I can give to someone. And yeah, thank you for that.
That's amazing. You know, that's absolutely, absolutely amazing. So every time I walk into a room, I'm actually doing good because I'm normally the dumbest person walking into the room. So I love it. Knowledge is power. So I love absorbing. It makes me feel good that somebody is saying that dumb people's also allowed. I'm just kidding. Nobody is dumb, but I do get what you're saying. You have to be an open source. You need to be able to receive so that you can learn. Beautiful advice, Francois. Beautiful. Now, before we go, I want to get your contact details because I really think the public should learn more about yourself, more about FDG Capital and what you guys do. Would you like to share your contact details with us, those that you want to share? I don't always advise that people give their cell phone numbers because you get stalkers out there. Now, I'm kidding. If you want to share your contact number, please do so. Any form of contact details, go ahead and share with us, Francois.
Absolutely fantastic. So you can obviously find me on LinkedIn. So let's start with the easiest one. You guys are more than welcome to visit our company website. It's fdg-capital.com. If you go under the About page, you'll see there's a little write-up about myself, and there are links to my social media on there. You'll find the link to my Facebook. You'll find a link to my LinkedIn. If you want to talk business, preferably use the LinkedIn link. That is the message portal that I respond the quickest to. But you are also free to follow me on Instagram at Mr_Du Plessis92. And yeah, I think those are the easiest forms of contact. That we can use. Like you said, personal cell phone numbers and stuff, not really advised. Not that I don't mind, or
Absolutely.
not that I mind to give it out, but I've had people message me 2 o'clock in the morning. So, and then want to ask for stuff. And I'm like, let's keep this to business hours.
Yeah, no, definitely you have to. So if I'm correct, you say your website is fdg-capital.com.
Absolutely. That's the one.
Okay, beautiful. And the people will be able to get information on your different services, products, those kind of things on the website?
Everything is explained on there. Our homepage has a little bit of a summary. You can go a bit more into detail if you want to click on our investment portal. If you want to know more about the trading team and directors of FDG Capital, the About page covers that, as well as we do have other services that we do provide, as well as we have Cubic Forex Institute, where we also teach and educate future traders and fund managers.
Oh, wow.
So, but yes, we can leave that for a different day. But you are more than welcome to go read up on that on the website, and also get more in detail. If you get into contact with us, we can, if that's you and you want to become a future FDG Capital trader or fund manager or analyst, you're more than welcome to come and attend our course. It's 6 months, and we will teach you everything we know, and try and improve you in every way that we can from of a trading and financial point of view. And who knows, maybe you can be a part of that team one day.
Now that is quite awesome. So definitely, listeners, if you want to get more information, visit their website at fdg-capital.com and get in contact with Francois. He will give you all the information that's necessary. The team is standing by to assist you. Francois, we would like to thank you for your time, my friend. It was an absolutely massive eye-opener for me today to speak to you and to learn all about these different things, and especially for the knowledge that you shared with us. We appreciate your time. We hope that everything goes extremely well for you, and we can't wait to read about you on the Forbes 500 and Forbes 100 very soon, because we know that's where you're going. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Dawid, and thank you for having me.
Great, man. Have a blessed day. And listeners, tune in tomorrow for our next interview. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.